Okay, so I was doing some recapping today on a Macintosh SE30, and oops, I screwed up a little. I put a couple of capacitors in backwards. Well, okay, it wasn't like it was 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It was the whole damn board. Oh God. So I'm gonna have to recap that, but as punishment for doing that, I'm gonna have to make a little bit of a video here of me cleaning up the board and putting the caps back on. So, for your enjoyment, let's get on with the show. Right, okay. Now, for this video here, I do already have the board decapped from my little problem here. And I'll just quickly explain what exactly happened here is that all of the tantalum capacitors I'd put onto this board were installed backwards. There's a very defining stripe on them that denotes polarity, and I thought the stripe meant negative because I'm too used to electrolytics. They are not. That is positive. So those have all been pulled off. And right now it's currently in a state here where, let's say you followed my other video on how to remove SMD caps using pliers and tweezers, or whatever way you want to do it. And you're now in a space like this. So I'm just going to zoom in on a... Can I zoom in? Come on. There we go. And I do apologize for the absolutely abysmal quality you're seeing here, but this is a very old Elmo EV308 overhead presenter. It's just basically a bed with a camera on it, but I'm going to use it for this. Anyways, so I have a fair number of pads which are like this now. They're a little bit dirty, so I'm just going to quickly tin those up. And there. And I'm going to reuse all of the caps, almost all of the tantalum capacitors I had, because they did survive for the most part. 2 of them either blew up or shorted out, but those have been replaced. So here we go. This is the tantalum capacitor. Note the little brown stripe on this side here. So I'm just gonna not drop it. Come on, damn it! Why can I not pick this up? There we go. And turn it around. And there we go. So stripe to positive. Grab the iron. And I'm just gonna tack one side down because there is already a bit of solder on it. And that'll allow me to work on that side. And I really can't see if I'm working here. I think that's working. That looks like it's good. Yes. All right. We can move on now. Here is it. There we go. C12. And this one here just has to be tinned up as well. This one, nah, it doesn't have too much on it. There. And grab another cap. What was my polarity? Turn it around. Maybe I have too much here. But that feels like there's a giant gap underneath it. Also, I'm a fair bit away from my bench right now, so I don't know if that is not connecting. This is also not under the camera. There we go. There. So, I'm just gonna see if I can get that to flow over. No, I'm gonna need more solder. There we go. Quickly check on continuity on that because I really should have removed the excess solder on that. But let's see. Are you giving continuity to ground? Yes, you are. Okay, so that one is good. Moving on. What else do we have on this board? Here's one C13. And can I just focus on that a bit? There we go. This is just another one. Tin it. There we go. And tweezers. And I believe these were... Yes, each of these tantalum capacitors I'm fitting onto here are 16 volts, 47 UF, I believe. Let me just check the roll here. Yep, 16 volt, 47 UF. You can use 25 volts. You can actually use just about any voltage of tantalum, or any voltage capacitor on here. It's just that the capacitance rating itself shouldn't change a whole heck of a lot. Otherwise, that cap's technically then out of value. There we go. I think that one is good. And I get to come over here and I get to look at some of the worst pads on here just by the power supply. And these are... Okay, let me explain what exactly happened here. So, back in, say, 2011 or so, I first got the real impression that I should start pulling these caps off before I have any irreversible damage, because leaving them on there will cause problems. However, I didn't have all the tools I have now. As well as I've mentioned before in my previous decapping video with pliers, that working with soldering iron is absolutely crap for removing these caps. And as you can see, I've lifted a fair number of pads. So we're gonna have to do some crafty things here to try and make any of these work. And I have already tried cleaning them up. And basically, while the pads themselves are missing, I have nearby vias which I have been able to solder onto. Really, I don't need a whole heck of a lot. I just need something to tack the solder onto. And that random fan I'm hearing now is the laptop, which is recording this video. Freaking, oh wow, okay. Even the pad on the other side here has lifted now. So this is a really shitty pad. Oh my god. This is bad. I don't like this. Okay. And now I have to very carefully tack it to that via, if I can. And come on. It's not going to work, and this iron has a cord just a little too short for me to be working on this bench over here. So, pardon me for a second. Like, I can see a tinned area here, but I cannot get any solder to stick on it. There, I got a little bit of solder to stick on that. And I think for you, you can't even see what I'm doing because the glare is just that bad. And I'm going to clean up this over here. Last thing I want to do is overstress this. Oh god. Come on. Alright. And should be able to do it this time. I'm going to see if I can stick it to that via first. because that pad on the other side is just keeps on fluttering around. Got it. Perfect. Okay. And no, I cannot move the board. This is just disgusting. This is really not high quality soldering here. But really, I don't want to put any vias on this thing because I've already fucked it up enough as it is. And oh god, this next one's even worse. This one here, like, this pad is loose. This pad's literally a thread. So let's see if I can just kind of put that there. And I put that positive. Yes, I did. And it's solid. God. This is what it's like. This is the ghetto life. And to think there's this guy, and he does this as well. All he does is just recap Macs. And apparently he makes money on it, but I've heard from some people that he just does an absolutely shitty job. And someone I know, I'll say by the name of I, sent a bunch of boards in, and the boards he got back were a mess. In fact, one of them didn't even work all that well, and I think I got that. Yes, I do. Okay, that's another one done. Hurrah! And then we have this little mess over here, which I've actually ripped the via off since I last did this. So I'm not even sure if I got anything left to work with here. You're not even looking at it. I'm sorry. There it is. But this one here, C10. This one here was the one that blew up the first time. This is the cap for the 12-volt rail. So yes, I didn't learn from my first mistake here. So I plugged it in the first time, it blew up. Plugged it in the second time, it blew up and caught fire with the replacement cap. And you can kind of see here, there's soot here, there's soot here. This has been melted on the side, and there's soot here against this metal shield here. And it was quite spectacular. It was a case of like, god damn it, what the hell's up? And then eventually he's clued in me, oh crap, I put it in backwards. Anyways, the positive side. Yes, I do have a little tiny amount of pad left. So I'm going to stick to that. Let's see. Tinned. And that one tinned too, but there's too much solder on that, so I'm just going to wick that off. And this pad seems to be down pretty solid still. There. You aren't even... There you are. Okay. Maybe I should just zoom this out a little bit. Nah. That's good enough. By the way, if this video really seems like I'm imitating Louis Rossmann, partly yes and partly no. Yeah, apparently he just came onto the scene a little while ago, and his videos are fantastic. But he really reminds me of one of my old bosses. He hated his job. He hates his job. He hates the stuff he works on. He hates himself. Everything about him reminds me of my old boss so much. And it's hilarious. And he does a fantastic job. And it's kind of hacky, but I do really like the idea there of where people, well, even I've done it, you spend just like 2 hours sitting in front of a computer watching him repair it, and it's almost mesmerizing. It's just, it's hypnotic. You just want to sit there and work on it. And I don't know if that ground worked. Okay, that did work. Alright, so that one's done. And I think that was everything on that part of the board. So I'm just going to go over here, and I have two that are hanging out over here, and I have another broken pad. And, wow, okay, no. Okay, so yeah, that will need to be cleaned up. This lytic capacitor here is new. It's C6. I didn't actually have, I believe it was a 50 volt 1 UF cap. All I had was an electrolytic. And let me change the focus on this a bit. And you can see here how there's a white stripe on this side here. That's actually the negative side, and that's what confused the hell out of me. Because again, tantalum, the stripe is on the positive side, not the negative side. Ugh. Anyways, where was I? Let's clean this up. Because these ones are just a nightmare. I believe this is the sound section over here. I think that's the one thing that's nice about what Mac people have done over the years. They've actually been able to map out what everything was, or where everything went. So, another thing I'm kind of thankful about is Apple never really used a whole plethora of cap values when they did this. They were just all like 1, 2, if it's like really unlucky, 3 different values. But okay, and is that the positive side? Yes, it is the positive side. I'm just gonna take that and. But I think it was mentioned before, yes. I decapped a lot of my Macs years ago once we were finally positive that what was making all of our Macs drop dead was the electrolytic capacitors were leaking and throwing everything out of tolerance, and things were just going to hell in a handcart very quickly. So there's this. There is my Apple IIe emulation board. There's my 2FX, there's a LC3, there's even a LaserWriter 2G board that has to be recapped still, but I've already pulled all the caps off of those, so I shouldn't have to worry about that failing on me or destroying itself, because I guess you could say they're now per se safely inert and washed. Though this board here is a complete and disgusting mess, because originally I went through this and I use a shitty cheap Chinese flux because I'm just cheap like that, and you use flux remover on it and that doesn't get rid of it. You use just about any other cleaner on it as well, and that doesn't work either. And so I'm left with this nasty mess here. Apparently if you use really, really hot water on it, that does do a rather good job at cleaning off the flux, but you're still left with a little bit of a mess. I have to tack it from this side first. And this is not fun because this is as far as the iron will go on me. Here, let me show you. Hold on. I gotta zoom out on this. Like, this is as far as I can go because I've wrapped it around the post on my table. I'm not used to working more than a meter away from the table, so this sucks. I'll just zoom back in here again. There we go. I think there's also a feedback coming from the table here. Something like the springs or something like that on this mic stand or something's just not all that good. So I'll have to fix that up. This was a very quick set up. It was just kind of a, well, shit. I think, no, that is not. That's nasty. Again, I really don't care. In this case here, I'm not like recapping this for a person or something like that, but this is a really nasty work, and I believe I am out of caps. Yes, I am. So I'm going to grab another couple here. And there's already a couple of loose ones in here. How did you come out of here? There we go. Oh god, there's another one. Alright. Well, those two are going to have to do. These ones aren't tinned at all, so this will be just enjoyable to do. But I will just drop that down there. Maybe I should have a proper workstation set up if I'm going to do this regularly, because I keep having to look off to my left to my video display here just to get to see this, and every so often I really don't know exactly where I am looking when I'm zoomed. And, oh god, that was a bad idea. Plastic table, soldering on it. There we go. Alright. That's one one side. Another test I've done for this video here is that usually when I record, I do it in, I'm still stuck in like standard definition, but usually I do it in 24 frames a second. This is going to be 30 frames per second if I'm lucky. I'm going to upload this to YouTube as is, and hopefully the capture unit I'm using is automatically deinterlacing for me. Otherwise, I am going to have a very badly interlaced video on all this, and I'm just going to have to re-upload this video. But at least I sent this to a couple of people and they said it was okay, so that's a good start. And then I have, where is it? Oh god. Alright, this one's a bit of a mess. So I have this, which just needs to be bent back over, and it does not want to bend back over on me. It also has a giant piece of solder on it, which I have to get off of it without destroying the pad, which is already loose. There. Okay. Now for this one here, I'm actually gonna, you really can't see it in the video, in the shot here, but I'm just gonna tin one side of this capacitor just so I don't have to deal with leads. I think there's also a feedback going on here with the iron, because every time I touch my solder, I got a click in the microphone. There. And now the other side is floating freely, and if I were to touch that pretty hard, it'll rip it clean off the board, and I will be fucked. There. Okay. So I had all the caps I had already previously replaced, plus the 2 caps I had burned out. And that appears to be everything on this board here. Done and finished and dandy. So I am now going to go put this into my SE30 and hope to God that it still works. Good luck. All right, come on. Give me some luck. Yes! Do I have a picture? Do I have a picture? Do I have a picture? Can I flip it? Yes! Come on! I see a mouse! Oh my god, yes! Yes! Okay, I'm a happy man.